Welcome to CathyDSlaught's SRC4u Zoom call for April 19th, 2022. We're here on Cathy's website, CathyDSlaght.com. To access the Zoom call, we'll slide down, look for the Zoom banner, and click here. If you'd like to be part of Cathy's SRC4u Daily Energy Clearing Group, the information's here to register. If you would like to know anything regarding the SRC4u software, contact Cathy. We're going to click through to the Zoom call. The call will be loud, so you may want to lower the volume on your speakers.
It's 10 o'clock. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. I wanted to show you, we are still running, and I actually did pull up another one and just run it too for the group, but I want to show you why that is. You see, when you get ready to go again, more themes can come in. Of course, I'm not going to turn them down. So we really are at a point where it can be very time effective to do your work. And the only difference is, without awareness of what's going on, you've lost a lot of the impact. In other words, just to hit the button and go out the door, you're going to get a benefit for sure. But to take it a step further is going to be quite amazing. I think who was it that said that this technology is a lot like magic? And probably there was a time it would have been considered magic because people didn't understand energy. But so you can see now we've added a whole bunch more work, and I had checked before. You can't see it, I don't want to stop it, but we were asking for jewelry too. We've added jewelry to today's work. And what's interesting, I don't know if you all got a chance to look at yesterday in the notes, the statistics on mental illness, and it's staggering. And so we're going to want to look at that and try to see if we can figure out what's the root source of this, what's going on that we have such statistics. So and also got some really interesting information from Karen Barnett today. So since we're just running away on the WonderClick, this is the code. The other day we had just the statement. Now we've got a code. Elevate the vibration of planet Earth to compassion, service, and love. And I did get, if I can find it in here, maybe can't find it now, but a priority to run people of planet Earth as well. So that's the kind of thing you could douse in. Hey, this one is actually finished. Isn't that something? That was the other one I was doing. It finally finished. So let's do that. So let's douse in. And you see we wanted the startup scan too, so we're going to have that. And that one, of course, that's a little bit of a chronic stress. We haven't been so focused maybe on compassion, service, and love. And Kevin called me last night, and we got the cocktails resolved, I think. Let's just see. Nothing wrong with adding these codes to your food and water, so let's see if that's what we want to do. Nope. So we're very blessed, I'll tell you. we're gonna charge. Now this is yesterday. I charged our water. I forgot to look yesterday to see if we wanted that snake cocktail. Now I know that stuff is crazy, but the snake cocktail is just a bunch of nutrients for the most part, and they're beneficial. And we did want it yesterday, and we also wanted our water charged with it. So that's why object is clicked. You can, and we could even charge our water today with this other statement and code, because the water is such a carrier of information. Let's just do it. Now look at that. 1 minute, 96% benefit. Well, so I don't forget, let's just real quick go in and see if we want that. Whatever it's called, I can't remember if it's called snake bite or snake venom cocktail. I'm just going to call it snake cocktail for now. Do we want that? See, we're handling it ourselves. If you are, my belief anyway, Kevin maybe can elaborate, but if we do this, repetitive is the key, I think. The body remembers. So anyway, then for the SRC startup scan, which we wanted, you can see we're talking about balancing our diet. This lack of oxygen keeps coming up. Over supplementation, and then the retrovicular activating system, which is really the gateway for our consciousness. If on my own limited understanding, it's everything's around us, and we are pulling in what we on some level choose to pull in. And the classic example that made me understand it is when you get a new car, all of a sudden you see all these cars like yours that you never noticed before. And that's tied into how the retrovicular activating system works. So if you look, maybe, I don't know, for empty grocery shelves, you get to see them, etc., etc. So let's look at this lack of oxygenation.
Can you make it bigger?
Oh, hold on just a second. Okay, and we're balancing out pretty well so far. I don't know if anybody is scanning their supplements on a regular basis, but if you do, a lot of times you find you don't need certain things every day. So if you know, when you have the equipment to take care of that, it makes it interesting. Okay, a little stress there, but it's gone up to the 100 to balance. So at some point we realize we get what we think about. And a lot of that thinking is habitual and on an unconscious level to boot, but we can pull it to consciousness and be more aware of it. Okay. And then this from the SRC startup scan, here's what we were asking for. First of all, we are asking for that radiation code, and that is something we're seeing a lot more stress related to that. Let's just check a couple of things. And again, we're equipped. We have the ability to clear all this. We're doing pretty good. this is an interesting one too, this control of genetics with consciousness. And for example, they have found that in the prenatal time, the mood of the mother, because genes are not fixed either, apparently everything being energy, you can actually make changes in that direction, not maybe just prenatal, but who knows? So we're asking to be reminded of that.
Now, excuse me, you were talking about the mental health of the explosion and such.
Yes.
Would sonograms during pregnancy scramble the energy of the fetus?
You know, I listened years ago. I was up in Canada for a biofeedback training, and we're talking like in 2000. And they had a special on that. And it was especially related to autism. And I came home, I called all my friends with, grandchildren type, family members. And my friends were older. They weren't going to get pregnant. But then nothing on it ever came to this country, ever, not a peep. Later, I talked with someone who was a cranial sacral, and she said that was her primary job, is working with babies after they were born to undo the stress of the ultrasound. So yeah, there's that possibility. And they certainly didn't air it down here in America like they did up in Canada at that time. Okay, so let's just let's look at this with yes therapy, because that's one thing we're wanting today. If we could just install as you see, that was a little bit more of a chronic stress. We're doing it, but we don't know we're doing it. Recharger, soul imaging, emotions. Let's look at Qigong. Oh. That's up there at the shin. Let's just go ahead and put it in the shin. Again, it's up there. Let's look at the okay, so we'll take that under the Tesla 369. We're taking that 6 times. This is where, look at that, 95% stress related to the immune system. That's a 0, you see, dead on. So for starters, let's just go into yes therapy. You might want to consider for any of these things just raising voltage, because that's what the low immunity does, is it drops our voltage, which then keeps us from accessing the really beneficial information from the matrix. And then let's just go into the recharger. Let's just recharge the whole body at this point. Just 1 hour. And you could look if you felt like it. Let's just see if we have a cocktail loaded up for immunity in here. But, you know, we're going to, I think, personally, have to do a little more. Let's just do this. Defeat all pathogens. Uh-oh. Oh, it did it. Good. 18 hours. And we'll do that one, too. So that just gives you some awareness. So this would be a time, you know, to look at some of our own habits of daily living and anything we're doing. I got off that 4 glasses of water every morning. I've got to get back to that, because remember they said if a person could drink 4 glasses of course, pure water first thing every morning, no telling what could get balanced out. So let's go now. We're asking for the she motion, which we haven't asked for in quite a while. And this is not just for she. This is for he's as well. And then I'll send us our messages tomorrow. We probably won't get a whole bunch of them today. And this has been upgraded too, so very interesting. All right, so we are wanting, see, we've got a 3 there, self-driven personalities. So we want to end up down at a 1 with that, or a 0. Look at that, self, borrowing trouble, that's up to a 4. Now here's one we want to raise, it's just down to 1, alignment of personality with soul. That's rather interesting. And then work, it looks like we've got a despot there, someone perhaps running the show that gives some stress, so you want to lower that. So it'd be interesting too, this one. Let's copy that and let's go ahead and come back in a minute. We'll have a message. Let's just look and see where we are right now. The ego is, to me, the personality. The idea we have to bring it all in. It comes from outside of us, when the truth of it is the soul knows we already have it. We already have it. Let's just see where we are at this moment in time. All subtle energy. Well, we could kick that up a little bit, and it's kind of a chronic stress. All right, so neurodegenerative disorder. This is kind of where we are working with that kind of stress. Energetic level. Well, that's rather significant. Let's see what we got down here. Let's just look at the emotions in the soul imaging. With the soul imaging, we can turn off some switches. Remind me to come back to this if I forget, because it takes a while to set up. Okay, so see that pericardium? And also tied into the thymus. And what is so interesting, as you continue to read, you realize they figured out a while back that the immune system and any of these mental health disorders go together. They are tied in. You often find that to be the case. So I don't know. Okay, optimal brain operating system. That doesn't sound too bad. So we could use a little sprucing up on that one. There we go. Just let it run in the shim. And so, and then neuron growth. So it's interesting that SRC startup scan, you know, when I look and I think maybe we don't need it as much, but every now and then we do. And it's interesting, we are focused very much on what we're talking about at this point, which is mental health, because that is a big factor in our manifesting the heaven on earth that we are here to manifest. And that one goes up to the 102. So anyway, with that, let me see where we are. We're ready for the soul imaging. I'm just going to put that in. Now for some more interesting and exciting, we have a bunch of proficient dowsers on this call, and one of them is Karen Barnett. And she went over our Zoom notes yesterday, and she selected at that point 2 areas. There's our first message too, that we could pull out our pendulum and we could start doing some clearing. And Karen's here today. She may want to elaborate on this. Let's look real quickly at our She Motion message. I am created in the likeness of my Creator. Physical and spiritual healing are my birthright. I am blessed with God's strength, wholeness, and clarity. That sounds pretty good. Let's put it in our dowser 3 times, since it's saying repeat 3 times. Make sure that copied before I turn it off. First, just for the heck of it, let's see where we are resonance-wise. And that kind of reinforces what we're talking about. Again, yeah, see, that's a little bit of a chronic stress to get to that realization. Makes sense. And again, yeah, that one carries a little stress with it. So, okay, now what we want to do, the only number that's really out of line is this right here, alignment of personality with soul. What I've been doing, and just we're all kind of doing our own intuition, is I'm going to take that up to a 2. I'm going to take it slowly and take this one down to a 7. Go ahead and go back. And here we go. Karen, do you have any words of wisdom for us on all this? I don't know I know she's in here, but I don't know if she can get off mute. I'm going to get out my pendulum. Are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning. Any words of wisdom for us on all this?
I think what's so wonderful, you do a very supportive scan for all of us that are on the Zoom meetings. And I think to enhance that, we can go back over your notes, and those of us who are dowsers or anyone that wants information about it, just take your pendulum and see, okay, does this apply to me specifically? Should I go ahead and use this and check it out daily? So I have made a list of a number of things, different, and then I'll just check it with my pendulum, and then whatever comes up during our Zoom meeting, I'll make a little note, perhaps make a protocol. Now, if you see the way I have typed it out, the CC means counterclockwise.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Those of you who may have not used the green book for dowsing, and it's one of the original handbooks for dowsing, and that's what it means. And it's just a simple shorthand. And then C is clockwork. So you want to CC, which means to get it out, or C means to bring it in.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this, we know the power of that kind of work. So
well, Cathy, and you were talking about mental health, and so I just jotted down a nice little protocol for dowsing, and it is install support of emotions for optimum mental health.
Do we have that one in this list?
No, I just did it because you were talking about it.
Oh, okay.
And so what I do is my pendulum is in my right hand as we go through the Zoom meeting. Anytime, so it says install support of emotions for optimum mental health. Optimum or optimal, whatever, mental health.
Yeah.
And that could be for me, for my client, for the world, just for whoever.
Yeah, I love it.
So anytime you have anything, and then probably we could all do it, if something just seems to resonate with us, jot it down, see if it's appropriate to. And this is something you can use. I do a series of dowsing exercises first thing. It's the way I start my day. It didn't take me 5 minutes. And I just go with my pendulum. What do I need to start my day with?
Love it. And what was, as long as we're doing this, what was it that guy said in reference to dowsing in his nutrition and his water? First, he cleared something.
Well, the thing that dowsing in nutrition is, I recall, I listened to the CD that Raymond Grace had talked about his friend. And this man, every day, he takes a gallon of water, as I recall. And he douses in the nutrients that he would need for that day. And I'm sure he has some sort of a list that he uses as well. Raymond did not specify, but he would douse in and he would energize his 1 gallon of water. Everything I need today. That's perfect.
That's, I think, what Mary said he said. And then for clearing, I can't remember the exact verbiage.
I don't recall about the clearing, Cathy. I do not.
Yeah, maybe I'll talk to Mary. I don't know if
the neat thing about it, this man had been doing it for 25 years, and he is a friend of Raymond Grace, and supposedly in that time period, he has not had any solid food.
That's what I hear, but then it said he every now and then had a few potato chips.
Yeah. Well, I think when you're so clean and green, you can be a little bit.
I guess so. Having me, that's right. All right. Oops. Anyway,
Cathy, Karen, would you mind sharing the name of that book that you said in the very beginning, a green book or something like that?
Yeah, it is called The Green Book. That's the name of it. And if you go into just on Google and Google up dowsing the Green Book. Now, I think it used to just come up, and it is a free download.
Okay.
And that was
even better.
That was developed, I don't know, decades ago. And it's just a good primer and handbook. And it also has some of the charts for dowsing. And if there's a problem, I'll look up and double check my source. But I used to be able to just pull it up, get a chart if I were not at home. If it's not at home, and be able to do a chart if I wanted to do some, serious dowsing.
Great, thank you.
This is wonderful.
Thank you. Sure.
So we've got a few more here, and balance feedback. Pardon me?
Can you put what she said kind of in the notes about?
I just did it, so it's in there. So we have it.
And Cathy, you'll see those are the two things from yesterday was the anxiety, irritability, restlessness, insomnia. I do that at night. Climb into bed and I want to clear all that for a peaceful
Wow.
night.
I love it. Love it.
And
I
then
think that
the
is
other one
incredible.
for yesterday, of course, was again balance the feedback between the brain and immune system. And I think I do that daily, and I'm bookending now, and I'll also do it at night.
Love it. And do you recommend a stainless steel pendulum so it doesn't pick up all the energy?
I do, but you know, Raymond Grace uses a bullet.
Well, that's kind of a metal.
Yeah, I think you can use anything, but I took classes outside of Denver years ago on dowsing with Hannah Kroger's daughter, and that's what Hannah Kroger always used was a stainless steel pendulum, because it does not, it's very neutral, it doesn't hold any energy, you don't have to charge it or clear it or anything. And so I get that from Hannah's herb shop on a regular basis, and sometimes I'll just order a batch and have it available to give to friends or clients.
Love it. So that, just quickly, y'all can review that. This is interesting. You could perhaps, will that little green book have some dowsing charts?
It will.
All right. So you can check to see, for example, level of fear or whatever else.
Well, now the level of fear and all of that, that has come from Raymond's CDs and his monthly newsletter. That's not in the green book. It's not written.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Actually, it was written before Raymond really started being a practicing dowser. So it's been around for a long time.
Okay. And then see, neutralize fear, being used to promote, whatever. Convert this, I love this, neutral energy to prosperity, love, and confidence, or again, whatever. This is handy too, to use your pendulum to check before you spend a lot of time watching a YouTube or reading a book. It would be very interesting to do that.
And Cathy, I use it for all my emails, which I get a ton.
Yeah.
So I just use it to determine which emails I should open and read. Otherwise, I just delete.
Yep, there you go. And and again, level of benefit meter, you can check, obviously, supplements, foods, vaccines, protocols, etc. So everybody, this is really interesting. Sluggish elimination, allergies, pollen, plants, block communication connections from non-beneficial energies. This is great. Blocked chi, alien interference, chronic fatigue. Just imagine adding this little routine every day. It'd be pretty exciting. So, and you notice this is kind of funny. While we were doing this, we're going to work our way up today to trying to figure out the root source of some of this brain congestion or brain inflammation, although it may not obviously be just that. But look at our next message. I abstain from intoxication. Let's just see how we resonate with that. And it's interesting, it used to be in your different books and your movies, you'd see a lot of smoking. You don't see that anymore, but now you do see a lot of wine drinking. Do you notice that? So you wonder if there are a few of us that are doing a little bit too much wine drinking or whatever drinking.
Hey, Cathy, I was just wondering if intoxication could also be include other things other than just alcohol. Couldn't it be food?
I think food is
sex or other things that kind of take you into an alter reality?
You are right, and that's a code we have. Actually, that's what it looks like. This is just a thought. You know, there's been such a stigma with mental illness, and so many people suffer from anxiety, but they don't really want to express it, so they self-medicate, and it may not be alcohol. It very definitely could be food. And you look around, you talk about, the Bible said in the last days there would be sorcerers on every corner, and you look around, you see all these pharmaceuticals, but you also look around and see all these little 7-Eleven type places with big bold letter snacks and fast food joints. It's just a thought that there's like you said, there's a lot of forms of intoxication, and I'm thinking it might be more food than anything. Now you look into anxiety, and we kind of are all familiar with that. Let's just see where we as a group rank at this moment in time. And remember, the code is a positive. So anxiety disorder, not so much, but the code, this comes from healingnumbers.info, so it's a positive. So let's see if we are interested in receiving that code. Yeah, we'll take it. Let's just put that in. And then a few others. We don't need to go over each of these one-on-one, but these are some signs that the anxiety may be getting a little bit out of level. Then we've got phobias, and this I realized yesterday. My statistics rose, so I went and looked them back up. 19 million Americans in 2021 were said to suffer from phobias. And phobias are where all of a sudden, maybe not all of a sudden, but you get such worry. And this is the kind of thing you can't function with. You have trembling, stomach problems, headache, you can't, I want to make heart palpitations, muscle tension, and that's what kind of a phobia. It ties in actually with panic disorders. Now, the statistic I got on that was 3% of Americans. And again, that actually has an interesting correlation, though. Of course, you see dizziness, racing heart, hyperventilation in chest, paralyzing sense of terror that strikes without warning. Phobia, you kind of know ahead of time, you know, you've got this thing about snakes, or you got this thing about bridges or whatever. The panic disorder, they say, comes out of the blue. And they found a couple of interesting connections to that. And it possibly, you know, we go back and forth between genetics and environment. They do say not just one gene can throw everything off, but at the same time, this panic disorder thing seems to genetically have something that's an impact on the vestibular, if I'm saying it right, system of the brain. And let's just go ahead and see how we look at this time. And again, code is a positive thing. We could take a little amping up on that. I might come back and do a little bit more with that later. And then there are what they call CK receptors, and this actually has something to do with dopamine. And so again, let's see where we are. And interestingly enough, bulimia, which is the eating and then purging, seems to be tied to these receptors. So just for anyone who needs that information. Now here, generalized anxiety disorder, whereas most of us, okay, I am unrestrained. Seems like that could get a person in trouble, but that's our message. Okay, I'm going to go up with that. Get myself turned around. Let's just see where we are. Well, we've got some stress there related, generalized anxiety disorder. Let's see if we want to do that, do the soul imaging. No? It's close. Let's look at yes therapy. Okay, so we want that one in the sustenance balancer. Just put a little S next to that one. And then excessive worry, which gives you more to worry about when you realize what a powerful force of creation thoughts are. Somewhere in here I had that. I hope I can find it to clear all this self-medicating. Anyway, there's quite a few people suffering also from obsessive compulsive disorder and constant fear of contamination. Yesterday, we as a group, we were at 99-point stress on that, but I think that's related to corona. But these are some of the characteristics: aggressive or embarrassing thoughts, constant need of perfect order, excessive cleaning, scrupulous hand washing, ordering and arranging, counting once and over again, continuously checking on things. You've got some motor and vocal tics. Let's just go in there and see what we as a group come up with. We're not reflecting any stress in reference to any of that at that time, so that's awesome. This is the other thing too. It seems, oh good, there's that. That there's a worry gene. So again, they say one gene isn't going to do it, but you can get it switched on with your environment. You can have some interesting life experiences. Let's just see how we as a group look with that. Well, we'll take it. And this is all subtle. This is our blueprint. Can be highly proactive. And here's that. I always get surprised at healing numbers thing because they do have some of the darndest codes. And here they have this one: end habits of self-medicating anxiety disorders with food, alcohol, tobacco, and non-prescription drugs, and replace with stress management modalities. And that can be stress management. That's a wide spectrum. Doesn't have to be SRC, it can be EFT. There's so many things depending on what a person responds best to. Let's look at that, see where we are. Okay, well, we'll take it. Anyway, so you go in to looking at all this. Okay, take an interest in how people are doing on a personal level, be a fan of their success. Okay. Anyway, these are some of the things I pulled up online, and maybe some of you could add to this. This is an interesting one. If anybody's ever read Brain, he says that our brains are so highly inflamed. And remember, the immune system is a part of this whole thing. So that's worth looking into. If you read the book Remarkable Healing, you find that that psychiatrist found a number of very serious mental stressors. It was a spiritual attack, and that's a fantastic book if you can read it. It's a big fat book because she's got all her case, or many of her case studies. Increased electronic media, and so we know about that. A lot of performance pressures. The terrorist thing, I don't know, I guess it's in there, it was listed. Divisive news, no kidding there. That's a good way to bring that pendulum in. We are seeing a lot of violence, always have actually, in our TV programs, video games, movies, and then that goes in how many of us are handing our kids or our grandkids the iPad so they'll be quiet, or the cell phone so they'll be quiet when we're doing whatever we want to do. Increase in sexually explicit material. It's a real interesting thing. For example, even if you start analyzing the graphics with Walt Disney and how many phallic symbols and everything else were actually in the cartoons. And remember that we are very programmed by these images. And the lower our voltage, so, you sit in front of the TV, have some enhancing beverages or some sugar, and you're going to be even more programmed. Social media, we're isolated. This is something that we need to be aware of. The breakdown of the family unit, sexual orientation, confusion, gender confusion, too much information, too many options to where we can't quite do any of them because we don't know which one to do first. Being exposed to aggressive behavior, we're seeing that, for example, with our children. And I can give this example because it's not that small of a world. But for example, one woman I was listening to the other day can't stand her 2-year-old daughter because she reminds her of her ex-husband. She says this right in front of the daughter. That's going to have an effect. The sleep is major. Increased financial pressure. Reduced parental contact. Now, some feel that one of the worst things that could have happened is women going right back to work after the birth of a child because the child needs that bonding. So I don't know. I'm, open on that because they do kind of learn about the real world through some of the different child care. But something is going on. The mental health stress has increased dramatically. Easy access to and the acceptance of recreational drugs of all types. One thing I've read, anybody please look up and see if you can confirm, is that the marijuana is not what it used to be. It is far stronger now. If that is true, then isn't that interesting? That came along right along when it's legal in so many areas. Overprotected or indulged children, reduced expectations for young generations, the I generation, where everyone believes they are entitled to whatever they want. So I don't know. This is just what I pulled up online. Anybody have any other thoughts? Oh, look at this. I am careful. That makes sense. There's a lot. Now, just for fun, I don't know where to start with our next focus on this. Let's just look at something here. Would it be, for example, we're looking at the mental health, primarily the anxiety. And I'm including those other codes. If you have people you're working with, great on that. But for primarily it's anxiety. Let's just see what we've got here. Look at this. Next focus, spiritual attack. I feel like we're already doing that, but it's significant at least to look at that. And we for sure want to continue to do that discarnate scan every day. We did not need it today. Remember, the body remembers as we continue to do this repetitively. But that is interesting that came up that high. Let's look and see what else. Electronic screen syndrome. That's up there. I'm not going to do these one at a time. Shall we just scan it? See what kind of information? Oh, that would take, we'd be here too long. Remove the word failure from your life and you are sure to succeed. Well, that sounds like a plan. Let's see what we got here. Now we're looking for the lowest number. I don't know about, I guess all these, this would certainly categorize. Okay, but now we've got a 901. This is a dramatic increase in graphic children's media. So that's a 901.
TikTok is such a huge one. That's where I just love to know what's coming through that.
Look here, we've got our 0. Isn't that interesting? Overly protected, indulged children.
Well, I sure believe that.
I don't even know where to go with that, but that's actually our next focus. Let's just look at this. We're done. So I will see you all. Let's look at real quickly the stress level. All right, so that's where we are. I'm going to add that to Nigong, but I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody.
Concludes the SRC4u Zoom call. Thank you for participating. We look forward to seeing you again. Till then, take care and be well. This is a YouTube disclaimer. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only.